I want to return to the topic of people who are mad on Twitter. Not everybody who's mad. I don't have time to cover all of that in one video, but the people are mad on Twitter sort of stories that get into the media all the time. Even, channels that I'm on, it happens. And it's becoming more and more common, and there's some good reasons for that. And I want to talk about it because it's really pissing me off. Now, the reason I was thinking about this is that on Think Tank recently, Hannah and I did a video about Alicia Keys not wearing makeup at the VMAs, and people on Twitter were mad. And so we wanted to cover that because we both like Alicia Keys, and we find the topic of makeup acceptance and not doing makeup and no filter and all that very interesting. But it got picked up a lot by other people who don't really have a dog in any of those fights and just want to talk about the fact that people are tweeting angrily at each other. That isn't a story by itself. There are people who are mad on Twitter about anything you can come up with right now. I could literally come up with fake stories right now. Maybe we could brainstorm together. I could post a fake link on Twitter and people would reply to me that I'm a cock or something, or God knows what. People just want to get mad, and there's so many people who are mad about so many different things that any topic you can come up with, some people are going to be angry about that. Now, that is true, and if you simply say that in a story or in a video, then that's accurate. I got no problem with that. It's when they try to pretend that there is a story other than whether the actual information that you're talking about is interesting. And so, when you simply say that people are tweeting angrily in response to a story being written, or a journalist is getting angry tweets or something like that, to say that that by itself is indicative of anything other than the fact that there are trolls on the internet, that there are mad people on the internet, is simply untrue. I want there to be a term for this. This 4% of the population who is mad about any given thing that you can come up with. Somebody suggested a Twitfit, basically. It's a meaningless show of light and anger and smoke on the internet that means nothing and is not representative of any actual opposition to the story. So let's ground this again in a story. Alicia Keys doesn't wear makeup to the VMAs. People are mad about it. Are people mad about it? Are people around you mad about it? Are people across the country mad about it? No. No, the vast majority, 99.9% of all the people in the country don't care at all one way or another. A very small fraction are mad about it. And it's interesting to talk about. But you can't simply take from a few tweets that you might see and then say that this is representative. And so one of the reasons I think that journalists like to proliferate this sort of thing is because the research is easy. The research in a lot of cases is delivered right to you, if by research you mean that there are tweets that you can quote or that you can embed in an article or something like that. Now look, if you want to read interesting or funny tweets, even insulting tweets, there are reasons to do that. But to say that that is representative of the public at large, that it says anything really, that is not true. And that's where you lose me, unfortunately. You can't make news simply because people are mad. And really, it's the inability to understand what representative means, whether something is representative, that bothers me. And so you have it from the journalists who try to say, for instance, that if they get a couple of angry tweets about Hillary Clinton, then all supporters of Bernie Sanders are Bernie bros. That's not true, because those tweets are not representative of all the people that support Bernie Sanders. In all likelihood, they're not even from people who do support Bernie Sanders. And there are people on Twitter who don't understand what representative means. We're seeing this a lot when it comes to polling right now. They seem to think that if they themselves are not called by a poll, that polls don't mean anything. Or very often they'll say, well, there was only 2,000 or 3,000 people in that poll. It doesn't mean nothing. There's so many people in this country. That doesn't mean anything. If you sample across the population and the people that you talk to are like at large the population, then the sample is representative. If I were to tell you that I have a poll of 20,000 people, a lot of people on Twitter would be like, oh, well, that's got to be better because it's more people. Well, not so fast. I polled 20,000 people in rural Alabama. Those 20,000 people don't mean shit if I'm trying to say something about all of America, because it's not representative. And that fundamentally is the problem that I have with angry Twitter people throwing twit fits, is that it's not representative of people at large. Look, Twitter by its very nature is not like reality. Most people are not on Twitter. I spend a lot of time on Twitter. Most of the people that I know in my personal life, more so in my work life, are on Twitter. And you might be the same. Maybe you're on Twitter, maybe most of your friends are on there. But the vast majority of people will never actually sign up for an account. And even if they do, they will not engage politically on Twitter. Those who engage on Twitter on any topic are, by their very nature, the most extreme, most engaged versions of whatever group it is that we're talking about. And that's why journalists need to be extremely careful when they try to draw from a few choice, snarky tweets that America believes anything at all. It probably, at the end of the day, isn't actually the case. Now, I know when I do actually do videos on this channel, which is not all that often anymore, because I'm so angry, mostly because of Twitter, I talk about Twitter a lot. And I'm going to try not to do that too much because there's a lot of important stuff going on in this country and around the world. But I do see Twitter every time I wake up, and sometimes I get mad about the things I see, and so you have to listen to it. Sorry.